Imagine, if you will, a world that never stops shouting, a world perpetually obsessed with the loudest voice in the room, the brightest flashing lights, and the most frantic pace of life. In the midst of this relentless noise, there exists a quiet rebellion. It is not fought with raised fists or deafening slogans, but with stillness, profound observation, and an emotional depth that goes completely unnoticed by the untrained eye. We are stepping into the hidden, breathtaking universe of the rarest mind among us. This is a journey into the soul of a quiet guardian, a visionary, and an anchor in the storm of modern existence. From the outside, they might appear serene, reserved, or even somewhat distant. But make no mistake, beneath that calm surface lies an ocean of complexity, emotion, and unyielding purpose. If you have ever felt like you are navigating life on a completely different frequency than the rest of humanity, or if you have the rare privilege of being loved by someone who does, you are about to understand why. They do not merely exist in this world. They absorb it, they analyze it, and they quietly seek to elevate it. Let us delve deeply into the very first pillar that separates this mind from the ordinary. It is an extraordinary phenomenon combining deep, almost supernatural empathy with piercing intuition. For most people, empathy is an active choice. It requires conscious effort to listen, to imagine, and to project oneself into the shoes of another. But for this rare individual, empathy is not a choice. It is an involuntary reflex. It is as natural and sometimes as overwhelming as breathing. They do not simply understand what another person is feeling. They physically and psychologically absorb it. They can walk into a crowded room and instantaneously read the emotional temperature. They can sit across from a friend who is smiling, laughing, and seemingly fine, yet distinctly feel the unspoken grief hiding behind their eyes. This is not guesswork. This is a profound, resonant, emotional connection. It is why strangers suddenly find themselves pouring out their deepest life secrets to them on a park bench or a long flight. Their mere presence radiates a silent, undeniable sanctuary. However, carrying this immense emotional and intuitive weight is a heavy burden. Experiencing the collective joy, anxiety, sorrow, and hidden agendas of everyone around them is incredibly exhausting. It drains their spiritual battery at a rapid pace. This is precisely why they absolutely require periods of profound isolation. Their need for solitude is not born out of a dislike for humanity. It is a vital mechanism for survival. In the quiet sanctuary of their own space, they must painstakingly separate their own emotions from the emotions they have absorbed from the world. They retreat to the silence to clean their psychological lens, to rest, and to repair. Without this sacred time alone, they risk losing their own identity in the overwhelming tide of other people's needs. But when they are given the grace and space to recharge, they emerge stronger, wiser, and even more deeply connected to their purpose. The second pillar of this extraordinary character is the fascinating paradox of being an idealistic dreamer who operates with ruthless practicality. The world is full of visionaries who possess beautiful ideas but lack the discipline to bring them to life. Conversely, the world is full of pragmatic workers who execute tasks perfectly but lack the imagination to change the paradigm. This rare personality is the beautiful collision of both. They look at a broken world, a fractured community, or a suffering individual, and they hold a vivid, radiant vision of what could be. They dream of a reality rooted in fairness, profound compassion, and mutual elevation. But they do not stop at daydreaming. They immediately begin drafting the blueprints. They possess the unique ability to break down a utopian vision into actionable, daily steps. They are the quiet architects of long-term change. This pragmatic idealism requires an astonishing level of patience. In an era where society demands instant gratification, overnight success, and immediate returns on investment, they operate on a completely different timeline. They are planting trees under whose shade they do not expect to sit. They understand that genuine foundational change, whether it is healing a generational trauma within a family or building an ethical business, takes years of silent, unrewarded dedication. When they face inevitable roadblocks, when the world pushes back with cynicism and harshness, they do not abandon the mission. They may retreat to recalibrate, but their inner fire never extinguishes. They simply study the obstacle, adapt their strategy, and continue moving forward with a quiet, terrifying resolve. They apply this exact same architectural mindset to their relationships. They know that profound love is not found. It is built, brick by brick, through hard conversations, vulnerability, and unwavering commitment. To truly comprehend this personality, one must acknowledge the third pillar, the vast, unfathomable complexity of their inner world. While they may sit quietly in a meeting or listen silently at a family dinner, inside their mind is an absolute symphony of thoughts. Their internal landscape is a massive, meticulously organized library of memories, philosophical inquiries, emotional reflections, and highly detailed imaginary scenarios. While the majority of people live their lives from the outside in, reacting to whatever stimulus hits them, this individual lives from the inside out. They process, they filter, and they deeply contemplate before they ever allow a word to leave their lips. They replay past conversations, analyzing every nuance, wondering how they could have been kinder or more effective. They mentally rehearse future interactions to ensure they navigate them with maximum grace. This rich, ceaseless internal activity is the birthplace of their immense creativity. It is the wellspring from which their writing, their art, and their profound insights flow. But it is also a source of intense isolation. Because their mind operates at such a deep level, they frequently experience the painful sensation of being a stranger in their own homeland. They can be surrounded by friendly acquaintances, yet feel entirely unseen. When asked what they are thinking about, they often say, "Oh, nothing," because explaining the multi-layered philosophical debate currently raging in their mind would be far too difficult to translate into casual conversation. This overactive mind makes them their own harshest critic. They hold themselves to impossible standards, constantly analyzing their own perceived failures. Yet, over time, the most evolved among them learn to harness this relentless self-reflection, transforming their overthinking into a profound, grounding wisdom that anchors not only themselves, but everyone lucky enough to be in their orbit. The fourth defining trait is an unshakable core of personal values. We live in a society that often rewards flexibility of morals, where opinions shift with the wind of public approval, and integrity is frequently traded for convenience or social standing. This rare soul is fundamentally incapable of playing that game. Their sense of right and wrong is deeply entrenched in their very bones. It is not inherited from societal trends. It is forged in the fires of their own deep reflection. Authenticity, compassion, fairness, and profound honesty are not just words to them. They are the absolute laws of their internal universe. When they are placed in a situation, a workplace, or a relationship that requires them to compromise their core values, they do not just feel uncomfortable. They feel a visceral, almost physical sickness. They literally cannot force themselves to perform a lie. Because their values are non-negotiable, they often find themselves walking the harder, lonelier path. They are the ones who will quietly resign from a lucrative job if the company acts unethically. They are the ones who will step away from a friend group that engages in cruel gossip. They are not doing this to be dramatic, rebellious, or morally superior. They are simply protecting the sanctity of their soul. This immense integrity makes them one of the most reliable and trustworthy human beings you will ever encounter. When they give you their word, it is an ironclad contract. When they commit to a cause, they are immovable. In a world full of smoke and mirrors, their consistency is a breathtaking breath of fresh air. You never have to wonder where you stand with them, because their actions will invariably mirror the deepest truths of their heart. The fifth truth about this intricate mind lies in their absolute starvation for profound connection. They harbor a genuine allergy to superficiality. Small talk, the weather, the latest celebrity gossip, these topics do not just bore them. They drain their life force. They do not want to know what you do for a living. They want to know what keeps you awake at night. They want to know the childhood memory that shaped your fears. They want to know the secret dream you have never dared to speak aloud. They desire to bypass the societal masks and connect directly soul to soul. Because of this intense craving for depth, their inner circle is notoriously small, heavily guarded, and fiercely protected. They are exceptionally selective about who is allowed to enter their private sanctuary, knowing that once they let someone in, they will care for that person with an intensity that is rarely seen in this modern age. Once you have earned the trust of this quiet guardian, you have secured a fiercely loyal ally for life. They will remember the smallest details about you. The way you take your tea, the exact date of an anniversary that brings you sorrow, the subtle shift in your voice when you are secretly overwhelmed. They will stand by you in your darkest, most unlovable moments, but let it be known, this loyalty requires mutual respect. If their trust is fundamentally betrayed, or if the connection is revealed to be a manipulation, they possess the terrifying ability to cleanly and entirely sever the tie. This is often referred to as the infamous door slam. It is not an act of malice or vengeance. It is a necessary act of self-preservation. They would rather walk alone in the wilderness forever than sit at a crowded table filled with fake affections and hidden resentments. The sixth and final hallmark of this extraordinary spirit is an unquenchable, relentless drive for personal evolution. They are the eternal students of life, completely incapable of remaining stagnant. Even when everything on the outside appears perfectly stable, beautiful, and successful internally, they are always asking the hard questions. How can I love more deeply? What past trauma is currently influencing my reactions? How can I heal the broken fragments within myself so I do not bleed on those who did not cut me? This internal crucible of self-improvement is a solitary journey. They read, they write, they meditate, they seek out wisdom not to accumulate wealth or status, but to achieve a profound inner alignment. They treat their own character like a piece of exquisite art, constantly chiseling away the rough edges, repairing the cracks with the gold of their learned wisdom, much like the ancient art of kintsugi. This dedication to growth often makes them appear as ancient, wise souls, carrying a quiet majesty that commands respect without ever demanding it. To be this kind of person, or to deeply understand one, is an undeniable privilege. They are the quiet sentinels of empathy, the practical dreamers holding the fabric of compassion together in a world that so often feels harsh and disconnected. If you recognize yourself in this journey, hear this clearly. Your differences are not defects. Your deep feeling is not a weakness. Your overthinking mind is a magnificent instrument of creation. You are not designed to seamlessly blend into the chaotic noise of the masses. You are designed to stand apart, to observe, to feel deeply, and to guide with a quiet, brilliant light. The world desperately needs your depth. It needs your unshakable integrity. It needs the sanctuary you provide. So, embrace the beautiful, complex paradox of who you are. Continue to walk your path with that quiet courage. May your heart find the deep connections it seeks. May your mind find the stillness it deserves, and may you never ever apologize for being so breathtakingly far from normal.